Hello and welcome to HBM's Crypto-Corner for Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. We have a few things to talk about, so let's get started. Apparently, a big cat has been spotted in England. In Britain, it says, but says it was stalking a boy. A father and son out for a bike ride in Britain had a terrifying encounter with a mysterious big cat that was spotted stalking the boy in a manner suggesting that the youngster was about to become the monstrous creature's next meal. According to a local media report, the unsettling incident took place last week as Martin and Harry Abadie were enjoying a visit to a wooded area known as Black Car Plantation in the town of Doncaster. Just prior to sunset, the duo were riding their bikes along a trail with the 11-year-old boy around 90 feet ahead of his dad when the man suddenly saw a large black animal sprinting out from the cover of the woods, heading directly for my son, running diagonally to head him off. Initially suspecting that the creature was merely a sizable black dog, Martin glanced around to see if there was perhaps an irresponsible pet owner who could account for the wayward canine. However, upon realizing that they were alone and giving the strange sighting a second thought, the man became certain that he had actually seen one of the mysterious big cats said to roam the British countryside. This was understandably a rather worrisome assessment as, by now, the animal had vanished into the brush, leaving Martin to theorize that it saw me coming, aborted its attack, and was laying up in the bracken, perhaps preparing to strike at an opportune time. Remarkably, Harry remained unaware of the situation as it was unfolding, and Martin smartly kept him from finding out that they were in potential danger by simply telling the boy to stop for a moment and take a break. His dad subsequently had a little look around in the undergrowth for the creature, though admittedly I didn't want to get too close as a cornered cat would likely attack. Fortunately, the animal was nowhere to be found, and Martin instructed his son to keep going along the path away from the spot where the predatory animal had been seen. It was only after they had left the park, Martin says, that he informed Harry of what had happened, and he was quite shook up when I told him. So now we have large cats attempting to attack humans. Ooh, gosh. That's not a good situation. Perhaps English officials should step in and try and hunt down this creature before it really does hurt somebody or potentially kills somebody. This is bad, folks. I mean, it could have been really bad. It could have been a tragedy. Really could have been. The Loch Ness Monster, a modern history. Reports of Loch Ness Monster sightings keep coming. The latest report, accompanied by a video, is a 20 to 30 foot long. What the heck? Creature occasionally breaking the water's surface. Although the video clearly shows a moving V-shaped wake, it does not reveal the underlying source. The witness saw something, but what? The witnesses certainly saw something, but what? There have been over 85 theories of what the Loch Ness Monster is, ranging from the prosaic wind slicks, reflections, plant debris, and boat wakes to the zoological implausible anacondas, killer whales, and the ocean sunfish to the frankly bonkers ghost dinosaurs. The people who came up with these theories were not necessarily that familiar with the loch. Many early suggestions by foreign zoologists implied that they thought the loch was salt water, which explains suggestions of sunfishes, whales, sharks, and rays. Oops. Darn it. Sorry, folks. I keep having problems here. Some theories have been reinvented independently, showing the ingenuity of each generation of Nessie inventors. For example, the idea that the Loch Ness Monster was originally a swimming elephant from a visiting circus resurfaced three times in 1934, 1979, and 2005. Each time, the person claimed the idea was original. However, it was the notion of the Loch Ness Monster as a prehistoric reptile that really captured the public's imagination in the 1930s. Nessie's modern genesis really started in April 1933. The first eyewitness reports of a strange animal in the loch started in 1930. It would only be in August 1933 that witness George Spicer, who saw Nessie on land, first suggested that the creature was a reptile. Until then, informed commentators assumed that if there was an animal in the loch, it was some sort of vagrant freshwater animal like a seal that had made its way to the Moray Firth. Spicer just described it as a prehistoric reptile. He claimed it had a long neck, which allowed a journalist 5 days later to suggest it was a plesiosaur, a type of long-necked marine reptile from the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. One, but not the only one, popular image of the Loch Ness Monster was born. The fact that the plesiosaur image of Nessie arose in 1933 casts doubt on Daniel Loxton and Donald Prothero's 2013 theory Nessie originated from the highly popular 1933 King Kong film, with its portrayal of a man-eating, long-necked, swamp-dwelling reptile. It's more likely that King Kong only influenced rather than created the modern Nessie. The very first sightings of the Loch Ness Monster were in 1930, and although there were more sightings in 1933, they started in April before King Kong was screened in Scotland. She's complicated. Most reports of the Loch Ness Monster don't feature Loch Ness. Biochemist and Nessie investigator Roy Mackal said in 1976 there were over 10,000 reports of the Loch Ness Monster, but gave no evidence to back this. And a table in his book, Monsters of Loch Ness, only contains 251 reports. I know of 1,452 distinct encounters. Only about 20% of the reports mention a neck of any length, so it is not the monster's normal form. Also, less than 1% of creatures in the reports are described as reptilian or scaly. So I think it reasonable to assume that whatever the reported phenomenon of the Loch Ness Monster is founded on is not based on glimpses on glimpses of a prehistoric reptile. In reality, the Loch Ness Monster has multiple identities. It may not be a walrus, moose, camel, or visiting extraterrestrials, as some have suggested, but could be a myriad of anthropogenic boats, wakes, debris, and natural animals, vegetation mass, and physical phenomena, wind effects, reflections. The Loch Ness Monster can vary in color from pink to black. It can be matte or glossy, furry or scaly. It can have humps and manes. It can have horns and travel at great speed or not move at all. No one identity captures the variety of Nessie's reported features. This suggests that Nessie is a function of human psychology rather than nature. And perhaps it is human psychology rather than nature that has sustained the idea of Nessie since the 1930s. So what do the latest witnesses see? The reality is we have too little information to reach a firm conclusion about what was happening in the video footage. The problem with the vast majority of Nessie reports is that they simply lack details needed to identify an animal. And any details that are reported may be misinterpretations. The fact that the visible wake moves indicates that it was an actual animal rather than snagged vegetation. But was it a 20 to 30 foot animal or some waterfowl or an otter under the water that created a large wake in smooth water? We will simply never know. So, a very interesting article examining the possibility that Nessie may be just a function of human psychology rather than nature. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. I want to highlight the Sasquatch Archives from Todd Prescott. He's got some really great videos on there. He's got the most recent ones he's posted from the Sasquatch Symposium in 1997. He has Mark DeWerth, Don Keating, Thomas Steenberg, and Daniel Perez's presentations. Now, these videos are courtesy of Larry Lund. Larry has been kind of donating his video collection to be placed online. And a good majority of Todd Prescott's videos are from Larry Lund. So I recommend everybody check it out. It's great stuff. Great and rare content. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. And that's going to do it for this week. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show. I always say that, but I always mean it. And I'll continue to do this as long as you guys want me to. By the way, we're going bi-weekly. So there will not be a show next week, but there will be a show the week after. So until 2 weeks from now, y'all be good or be good. This has been HBM's Cryptid-Corner.